Hey, so if you like my content, please subscribe to the channel or give me likes or comments under the videos. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks. Hey guys, so here we are back again with the Secrets of Strixhaven set review. Who are we? I'm Benjamin.
Leon.
And Dom.
So we will talk about the cards from Secrets of Strixhaven for the new Secrets for Highlander. And yeah, the Secrets of Strixhaven set is the second time we're going to Strixhaven. This time we the students grew up, and some of the students know a little bit less, and some parts of outside of Strixhaven will be explored. This means Arcavius, the plane, will be shown a little bit in the cards. So let's start with the first card. Oh, I also made this chart to introduce ourselves. So this is like Strix, Dom, Goblin Leon, and I don't know, Human Ben. And let's talk about the first card. The first card is the Wandering Archaic, and this is the Dawning Archaic, and this is Dom's card.
The Dawning Archaic, yeah, let's start off with a real banger. So it's a colorless creature avatar legend, and it's 10 generic mana for 7/7 reach. Costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. And whenever it attacks, you can cast an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard for free, and then it gets exiled. Exciting card for multiple reasons. The first being, obviously, you can, in the mid to late game, you can realistically cast it for 3 or 4 mana. If you tune your deck in a way that, like, you mental note, thought scour yourself, this can be even cheaper. Me, I'm personally excited because it triggers beans. And I've been playing this deck for quite some time now. I sound like a broken record here. But I have already played against this card in some playtesting with the new set, and it beat my ass. Sorry, we should stay PG, right? Beat my butt. So obviously this will clash with spells like Dig Through Time or Gormak Angler or Borrowed Oculus, anything that uses the graveyard already as a resource in such a way. So you can't just slam it into Grixis tempo or Jeskai tempo and say, yeah, this definitely will be great. You need to do some concessions. And I like that fact because now it opens up another world where you don't use your graveyard by exiling, but rather you use graveyard density. So there's not just the Dawning Archaic that is like this. We have the Tolarian Terror, which is this 6 mana 5/5 ward that you can play for X less with the same first line. And there's several other cards with this line of text. So what if instead you say, I'm going to play all these Delve cards, you say, you know what, I'm going to cast all these big CMC cards with using the graveyard in a different way and keep my graveyard as a sort of second library, not exiling it. Yeah, really excited for this one. And yeah, it's a very exciting start to a very exciting set. So let's go.
So what comes to my mind is like flashing back, like because it can flash back big spells, like flashing back like Time Walks or something. And also what comes to mind is like the Ugin's Labyrinth, the Ancient Tomb for Modern Horizons 3. So I'm not sure if both these card types belong in the same deck, but the Dawning Archaic works well with them.
You play this in Is It?
No, of course not.
Of course
because you already run, like you already said before, when you're running Dig Through Time, Oculus, and also Murktide, you can only run a certain number of these kind of cards, and this one doesn't synergize with the other ones I mentioned. Also small drawback, it being a legendary creature. But if you have already plenty of instant and sorceries in your yard, you can recast it for pretty cheap. So, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next card. The next card is Together as One, and Together as One is Dom's card.
Yeah, next colorless spell. Turns out I like them. So Together's one is a 6-mana generic sorcery, and it reads target. It has converge, so it counts the number of colors you spend to cast this card. Target player draws X cards, deals X damage to any target. You gain X life, where X is the number of colors you spend. Let's get the obvious joke here out of the way. That definitely in the future set the color purple will be introduced to max this one out. Might as well be like, oh, at 5 mana, this was probably too strong in playtesting. Anyway, why am I excited? This card is so jam-packed full of value that it's hard not to at least try it in a control deck that is at least 4 colors. And ideally also warns a long game plan, does some extra land drops with Growth Spiral or other effects like that. Yeah, I'm talking about my Bunt Beans deck again, I'm sorry. But I will try it in there. And sometimes you have even the 5th color in a 4-color deck with Starting Tone, City of Brass, the new Spells land that we'll look at later. And let's just imagine your opponent having 1 threat this can deal with. You gain some life, you draw 5 cards. That is a really good rate. And if you manage to resolve this spell, you should win in most circumstances. Now being 6 mana is a lot. Sadly not 7 for Ugin's Labyrinth and stuff. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting one. What do you think? Anything?
I'm not super high on this card, to be honest, so I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can resolve this with X equals, I don't know, 4 or 5, you probably win the game. But first you have to get to that point, and that might get a little bit difficult. Also,
yeah, but no one reminds me of Last Stand. That is such an old banger. It's that Wooburg spell that counts all your basic types and then just does a bunch of stuff that feels really great. So I'm maybe a bit biased towards these kind of things. But yeah, I'll give it a whirl and let you know how it performs.
Okay, let's go to the next card. Now we are starting with white. The first white card is Daydream, and this is my card. So Daydream is 1 white sorcery, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with the +1/+1 counter, and it has flashback for 2 and a white. So in Band Blink, you need some blink spells, and like 1 mana blink spells are really valuable. This being a sorcery can be a downside, so this means you can't attack and surprise block with the ephemerate, but you can, for value, blink your things, and you can do it even twice, and your creature will grow. I think this is a cute little toy for blink decks.
Yeah, it's a great raid. It reminds me of Momentary Blink, which has seen play. Obviously, that's an instant, but 1 mana is so much less than 2. And yeah, I mean, targeting your, I don't know, Wall of Omens or the dog that draws a card makes your opponent think, do I really want to spend a removal spell on this idiot? And then even if they do, you can flashback it later to kind of rebuy the card disadvantage. So yeah, it's cool. I expect this to see play. No.
Nothing.
I think we can then just move on.
So the next card is the Emeritus of Truth, and this is Dom's card.
Yeah, Emeritus of Truth. Much debate about this one. It's a 3-drop, 1 white, 3/3 cat cleric. When this creature enters, target player creates a 1/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Then if an opponent controls more creatures than you, this creature becomes prepared. And prepared means it's sort of activated, and if it's prepared, it can cast its spell on the right side once. It would need to get prepared again to cast it twice. The spell it packs is Swords to Plowshares. Not much explanation needed. Exile target creature, gain life equal to its power. Now, this card is very tricky to evaluate. I expect this to see play because it kind of needs to see play in order to evaluate it. It's this weird card that could be really great or end up like at 50 cents in your binder, right?
No.
So what does this do? The floor is a 3-mana 3/3 that brings a 1/1 flyer. In some decks that can be alright. The ceiling being this can really catch you up from behind, make a 1/1 flyer for you, and still, when your opponent has at least 3 creatures, you can sort something, the biggest threat. Or you gift the flyer to your opponent to make this easier to prepare, in which case you gave your opponent a sort of decent creature for it. So in my personal evaluation, this probably doesn't see play because it's not reliable enough. And if the 3-mana 3/3 attached with a 1/1 flyer, maybe there's a tokens build that can pack this, but then again, tokens builds already have a very broad board state. Benny, maybe it's something for D&T. Can you enlighten us?
So I first want to say what stands out to me is that out of these Emerituses, this is a cycle in all 5 colors. This is the only one which is not preparing itself. So Wizards thought that it would be already strong enough, or they did it for balance reasons. It feels a little bit like the guy from Modern Horizons 1, the captain which sets out the 1-drops, which is usually like the same mana cost. It's a 3/3 and it brings usually a 1/1 or 2/2. It feels a little bit like this. And also, maybe the reason why Wizards thought this shouldn't be prepared is that it's in the best blink color. So blinking it is the most easy with that. I'm also not super high on it. It can be good, but it can also be a card which will surprise us. Maybe, I mean, it would be best to be prepared in a control deck where you don't play a lot of creatures. But I think in a control deck you have better cards that you can play. In like white creature decks, usually you have more creatures than the opponent. So I feel the swords that you can cast will be a little bit of a safety net, but most of the time this will be a 3/3 and a 1/1.
I mean, it is decent when you're ahead and very good when you're behind. Maybe that's the way to look at it, Leon.
I mean, is it really decent when you're ahead? Like spending 3 mana to get a vanilla 3/3 and a flying 1/1 isn't what you really want to do in Highlander these days.
Yeah.
To me, this card is really garbage because like even if your opponent has a big threat like a Murktide and you have just 1 creature on the board and you have the Emeritus in hand, this will not remove your opponent's creature. So you somehow have to get rid of your own creature first. Because your opponent needs 1 more creature than you on the board. So this
oh my god, you can create really bad game patterns for yourself.
So yeah, I'm not a fan of it, and yeah,
maybe this will play a little bit like the Oculus, where we also thought, oh, the Oculus will be a 3-drop, but most of the time the Oculus is more like a, I don't know, it's a 3-drop on turn 6 or something. So maybe this is a card which you keep longer in hand and then play later, like the Oculus, and then it can create enough value. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hot potato of the set, and shout out to Cats and Cleric Tribals.
So let's go to the next card. The next card is Ennis, the Bait Moderator, and this is Dom's card.
So Ennis is a 2-drop, 1 and a white, 1/1. It's a Cleric human. When it enters, exile up to 1 other target creature you control, return it in your next end step. Owner's control, excuse me. And in your end step, if you put 1 or more cards into exile, put a counter on Ennis. So the last line of text is a bit like Soul Herder, where, let's say, you Swords to Plowshare something on the other side of the field. Maybe with the Emeritus, I'm not sure. This also triggers and grows, but why this is interesting to me is it creates density in the Charming Prince Flicker Wisp effect, which might be important for decks and like Blink and some builds of that deck Mainly I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a mono white blink deck at one point where the density of this stuff is so high that you can reliably execute your game plan. I mean, this growing to a 2/2 immediately helps. It becomes a 3/3 pretty easily in those decks. It can it can start to become a decent beta. And yeah, I will get a copy, sleeve it up, because I like to play those decks, and I think this slots right in there, alongside Charming Prince, Philia, and other stuff like it.
Yeah, I don't really like this card very much.
What?
Yeah, I don't have I don't have much to say about it. Like, yeah, maybe in some kind of blink deck, this could be the 103rd card.
Yeah, I don't know. It being a thing that you can flicker with Caracas is good, but let's go to the next card. The next card is a road. It's my card. It costs a white. It's an instant, and it has a text: destroy target creature or planeswalker, and its controllers may search the library for a basic land card and put it into the battlefield tab, then shuffle. So it's very similar to Path to Exile, but it doesn't exile, and it can destroy planeswalkers. So Path to Exile is a very reliable answer for any threat, basically. But the downside is that you give your opponent a land. So oftentimes, Path to Exile is not a removal spell that you play on turn 1 or 2 or maybe 3. But later, or if you really need to, you can remove anything. Which is what really is great about Path to Exile is that whatever you remove will be removed forever. And with Erode, it can happen that you exile the Barogolf and they have an Unearth, and then they get it back. But on the other side, you can destroy Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers see a little bit less play than before, but I think like Flip Tamio, Flip Dajani, Oko, or maybe other stuff still see play, and they need to be removed urgently most of the time. So I think this is like one of the best, if not the best card in the set, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think Path to Exile isn't such a staple as it used to be. I've been cutting it from my decks recently. I've added it back in again, been cutting it again. So, but it's not, it's not a staple anymore, if you ask me. But I think I prefer Erode over Path to Exile, just because of the extra flexibility it gives you to remove Planeswalker. So I will for sure play it in my 4-color blood deck.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of garbage cards white control decks used to play for spot removal, like Condemn, Sunlands back in the days. Nowadays it's like Get Lost is already debatable, and Erode just really nicely fixes this problem, where white control decks now can run the triad of Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, Erode, and then something else if they need to. So yeah, I agree with everything you guys say. For me, definitely the best card in the set, and one you should get several copies of as a Highlander player. Yeah. Oh, one side note: you can respond to the Minsk and Boot trigger and destroy Minsk. White can do that now. Okay, cool.
Okay, let's go to the last white card, which is the Informed Inkwhite, and this is my card. The Informed Inkwhite is 1 and a white, a creature human wizard. It's a 2/2 with vigilance, and it has the ability Repartee. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature, create a 1/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying. So Repartee always triggers on your spells targeting creatures. So it looks a little bit similar to a white, like the young pyromancer. It's a little bit better in combat, and it makes flying tokens. I played a little bit on the channel, like Boros Heroic deck. So in Boros Heroic, I can see that. Like Mardu Pyromancer is not really a good deck, and then Mardu Pyromancer, maybe you can play it. And besides of these two decks, I don't see a lot of reason to play the card.
Yeah, it's a niche card. I'm thinking maybe Jeskai can try it because all the removal spells trigger this, but then again, I think he would rather run
No, it's whenever.
a threat.
Okay. Target a creature. Okay.
Yeah, you lightning bolt something, this triggers,
okay.
but also, I don't know what you target yourself. Other outside of niche decks.
So in Boros Heroic, you play a lot of pump spells, but also
Yeah.
a lot of removal, which are basically all your instant sorceries. So this can trigger a lot there, and like giving your palm spells more targets in
Yeah.
with the tokens can be really useful.
Also, you don't need to target this. So, like, if you target one of your tokens, your opponent cannot really, like, say, "Oh, in response, I kill your Informed Ink right to make the most out of my removal spell." So you can kind of protect this card. Yeah, it's a nice niche rule player that maybe slots into some of these decks of yours.
Okay, let's keep on going. Let's start with the first blue card, which is a Durgo Focus Mage, and this is a commander card, and it stomps.
Yeah, just really quickly here. 3 mana, 1/4. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. If you cast one with 5 or greater mana value, it becomes prepared, and then you can Brain Gazer. I included this only because it's another Goblin Electromancer, and the density of those cards is getting to a point where you can realistically run 6 or 7 in Izzet, or 9 and 10 in Jeskai. I checked on it yesterday. So what does that mean? That means you can maybe build a Storm-ish deck that plays more to the board and focuses on these small Storm piles rather than this big decisive combo turn. And that is basically all I want to say here. And I will be brewing up a bit and just wanted to raise some awareness for the density and this effect on decent bodies that are not embarrassing to cast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next blue card is the Emeritus of Ideation, and it's Leon's card.
Yeah, Emeritus of Ideation costs 3 generic and 2 blue, is a creature human wizard. It has flying and ward 2 and is a 5/5. This creature enters prepared. Whenever this creature attacks, you may exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, this creature becomes prepared. And when it's prepared, you can cast Ancestral Recall. Yeah. 1 blue, draw 3 target player, draw 3 cards.
EU lander has Ancestral.
Yeah, I think like maybe you can run this in Reanimator. The ward 2 is really strong. And when you have like 2 mana open and this in the yard, you can reanimate it and immediately cast the Ancestral Recall. And this also has the ability of preparing again. So yeah, maybe another tool for Reanimator. I don't know if there are like better options available, but yeah, what do you think about the card?
So the card that is usually played in Reanimator, in Germany at least, is it's like, how's it called? It's a similar
change.
It's a lot of change, yeah. So it has ward 3, and on ETB it draws 3 cards immediately, but it's harder to cast since it costs 7.
Yeah, it's a 7 drop.
And so this one can be cast more easily. And so in Reanimator, this maybe you can swap both cards depending on what you want to do. Another deck where I see this card in is a Blink deck. So our Blink pilot in Berlin was kind of high on the card, so he said the Riddler, the Quantum Riddler, is a really good card there. So not only scamming it with 2 mana and then blinking it, but also like blinking it later is really strong. It doesn't have the static ability that the Quantum Riddler has, but it has a ward, so it can be a similar card there. And also if you play like blue control decks, or maybe like blue mid-range decks, maybe mono blue, this is a good card, I think.
Yeah, it's a must kill with Ward 2, which makes it tough. I will try it in blue-based control, just because it's really interesting. And yeah, you said it all. Great card, very fun, I think. And just this is what Mythics should be. As a tangent here.
Okay, next card is the exhibition Tidecaller. It's my card. It's a blue 0/2 Djinn Wizard, and it has the ability Opus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 mana or more is spent to cast a spell, target player mills 10 cards. So I can see this in spell-based controlled combo decks. So currently the Underworld Breach is banned, and when it was legal, people used to play Underworld Breach together with Slandside Diamond and Brain Freeze to mill their own deck and then go off. So this is a little bit like a Brain Freeze. Notable, it's 0/2, so it dies very easily. So I'm not super sure if there's a home for it, but this looks like a card which can be broken if other cards get released later. And 1 blue mana is a really, really good mana cost, so it's really efficient.
Yeah, it's just a card to keep in mind. If you play it in current Storm, like Doomsday Storm, what it can also do is just mill yourself in a way that it increases your resources for York Will, or mill Savini's Reclamation, which then does a bunch of things. Yeah, just don't forget about this card, right?
I mean, it's interesting for Storm, but usually most Storm lists or Doomsday Storm lists run Oath of Druids. And that's the reason why I think you don't want this card, because either it prevents you from from oathing out Atraxa, or it prevents you from milling your whole deck and winning. So that's probably why current Storm lists don't want this card. That's just my opinion.
Good point.
But I think there should be different flavors of Storm at least. And not all decks play, not all reanimated decks play Oath, or not all don't play Oath, so depending on your preferences, you can build your deck.
Yeah. Oath is just not in your main colors, right? So now this might be an argument to not Oath. We'll see. Interesting, huh?
Okay, let's go to the next card, which is Flow State, and this is Leon's card.
Yeah, Flow State is a sorcery for 1 generic, 1 blue, and it reads: look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. If there is an instant card and a sorcery card in your graveyard, instead put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So the first thing that comes to my mind, this one really reminds me of Expressive Iteration, which is a staple in Highlander and a really strong card for card selection and card advantage. This one has like a condition that you need an instant and sorcery card in your graveyard, but this condition is really easy to achieve. And it's a little bit it's easier to cast because you only need one blue and a generic. So this for sure will see a lot of play. I will test it or I will put it in my Izzet deck. Yeah, it's staple. Nothing more to add here.
Yeah, super staple.
Yeah.
So in combo decks, it's really good to find your pieces, even if it's like just in anticipate.
Yeah.
And in control or tempo decks or most blue decks, I can see this card.
Yeah, I mean, Simone is dancing in the middle because she knows she is in a banger card.
Yeah,
I love the art, by the way. Yeah, the floor of this card is fine. Like top 3, choose one. There will be games where this is just fine, but later if it's a draw 2 with card selection, it's insane at this rate. Like,
Yeah.
super good card.
Yeah, and also like when you meet the condition, it's even better than expressive iteration because you don't have to exile one card and play it immediately. With expressive iteration, sometimes you want a counter spell and a removal, but your opponent has no creature on board. So
Yeah.
so in that case, you can take the counter spell, or you can even take 2 counter spells and put them into your hand, which makes it better than iteration in these cases.
And iteration is not a great turn 2 play because normally you can't play a land you exile, which you normally want to do. Flow State you can cast on turn 2 and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, it's easier to cast and much
Order
more,
your copies, folks.
much more flexible. So let's go to the next card, which is a Harmonized Trio. And this is my card. So the Harmonized Trio is 1 blue mana. It's a 1/1 Merfolk Bard Wizard. And it has the ability tap and tap 2 untapped creatures you control. And this creature becomes prepared. And when it's prepared, you cast Brainstorm. So instant, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So I'm not super sure if this is good in Merfolk, but I think Merfolk usually struggled with having playable 1-drops. So most of the time, you really like to attack with your 1-drops, but it happens that you get stalled, like there's a board stall and you can't attack, and then you can just draw some cards and develop. You can do it multiple times even, but yeah, I don't know. This card is okay, I think.
It's interesting. I mean, Merfolk plays cards that untap creatures, right? Like the Azorius one from Lorwyn.
Mm-hmm.
So these two obviously pair well together, where you can attack, then leave 3 mana open, flash the guy, untap your team, brainstorm, or just prepare this.
Yeah, also Wizards is increasing the blue vigilance cards. So this works well with vigilance, but also in the original Lorwyn, but also in the new Lorwyn, Merfolk cared a little bit about like untapping and tapping, so maybe you can trigger things with it. So not much to say besides that, I think. So
it's a wizard. Is it wizards?
Let's go to the next card, which is Mather Magics, and this is Dom's card.
Yeah, a funny card, obviously, looking at it. It's a new formatting. Mathemagics is a blue XX sorcery, which reads target player draws 2 potency of X cards. And is that how you say in English? Fuck. Sorry for cursing. Anyway, so how this works is every X you pay basically multiplies the number. And I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but this is the best spell to mill your opponent out with a lot of mana. So I think you need 2 with a potency of 7, which is 16 mana, to have your opponent draw more than 100 cards. And this is worth noting because it's like in a deck like High Tide, let's say, it's a better win condition than Stroke of Genius, where Stroke of Genius was like, yeah, you need infinite mana. This is like, okay, you have this really insane high tide turn without an infinite combo. Here's Mathemagics, go ahead. It's fetchable by Spellseeker. And yeah, it's a combo finisher for infinite mana combo.
So how you say it in English is you would say it's a power of 2. So 2 and the power is 0, which is 1. 2 and the power is 1, which is 2, etc. So for your
wait, if you cast this for blue, does it draw 1 card? Target player draws.
yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
This is how the
So okay, it cantrips,
formula works.
and then if you spend 4 mana, it draws 2. Yeah, which is not great, but will not kill you if you need to. Yeah, funny card with some implications for combo. So nothing for is it. Let's move on.
Okay, so this is the last blue card, which is a Sky Coach Conductor, and this is Leon's card.
Sky Coach Conductor is a bird pilot for 2 generic, 1 blue, and is a 2/3. It has Flash, Flying, and Vigilance. This creature enters prepared. And the spell part is All Aboard. An instant for 1 blue, exile target non-pilot creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Yeah, so this reminds me of
Restoration Angel?
Thank you, Restoration Angel, but it's obviously a little more powerful because you can cast this for only 3 mana and use the exile ability the turn after. It also has Vigilance. I really like this card. It will for sure go into any blink strategies, but I think this is also playable in other decks. I'm a fan of it. And also like Flying and Vigilance is also really nice combination of keywords, which makes it good in racing your opponent and also staying back and blocking like their pesky 1/1s, and yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's a really nice package, and I think even in non-blink strategies, let's say you're a blue-based flash tempo control deck, after the turn after you play this and All Aboard is online, just the threat of activation makes the gameplay for your opponent really hard. Because now, all of a sudden, you always have a protection spell against removal. And then, yeah, who knows? Maybe you have your Solitude, your Fury, your Grief, Orcish Bowmasters, anything you might want to blink for value that is already seeing play. Blinking Pyrogoyf is nasty. I wouldn't be surprised if people try this in blue-based tempo decks even, because of Flash. Flash is like such an incredibly good keyword, and the more density you have with playable Flash cards, the better they all become. So, cool.
Yeah, so maybe 2-color tempo decks might try this out, or blue mid-range decks, or also dedicated Flash decks. So let's go into the first black card, which is the Emeritus of Woe, and this is my card. So the Emeritus of Woe is 3 and a black. It's a creature, vampire, warlock. It's a 5/4. And this creature enters prepared. And at the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures die this turn, this creature becomes prepared. And it casts Demonic Tutor. Obviously this is very expensive for like getting this on board and then casting Demonic Tutor later. So in regular decks, I don't really see this card. Maybe in Vampires if you want to play it. But I can see this card in Cascade decks, where because of the way Cascade decks are built, you need to have like more expensive cards to find your things that you want to cascade into. And in Cascade decks, oftentimes the way you play is a little bit streamlined, so getting ways to break all of this basically self-made way how this deck plays can be useful. So getting this on board in Maybe Living End, I can see that, and then if the opponent interacts with it, you can then get your Demonic Tutor and find an answer or a second wave of like comboing. And Hypergenesis currently I'm playing also 5, maybe, and also like 1 6-mana Cascader, so I don't really see it in Hypergenesis, but depending on how you want to build your Cascade decks, this can be a useful tool. Yeah.
Color blood.
No. Way too expensive.
So
Yeah, I would like just one note. I think I want to try it at least in Recurring Nightmare, because reanimating this will obviously circumvent the upstart cost, and then often you have 2 mana left over for Demonic Tutor, which obviously is good. And with your mana dogs, you can jam it out ahead of time. It's a must answer for a lot of games. So, like, a lot of things qualify it for being a good creature. Even in Recurring Nightmare, this can become re-prepared by itself. So, yeah, I'll pick up a copy. Let's see
yeah,
what it
this
does.
is more made for Commander, I think, but
Yeah,
in 1 versus 1 formats is a little bit more.
yeah, it's probably too unreliable, where this will not guarantee you what it says on the card, and that is already, like, yeah, a killing argument for a 4-drop.
So next card is a Grave Researcher, and this is Dom's card.
Yeah, speaking of Recurring Nightmare. So Grave Researcher is a black and 2 generic creature. It's a 3/3, a Troll Warlock. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Then if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, this creature becomes prepared, and then it can cast Reanimate. Yeah, I really like this for the deck I mentioned. Recurring Nightmare being a deck that like kind of shuffles, cycles through its creatures using the yard as a resource. But even with a blank graveyard, this basically filters your draw step, fuels your graveyard, and says, hey, eventually kill me, or I'll start doing nasty things to you. Just a neat little package. Kind of reminds me of the Twilight Diviner from Lorwyn Eclipsed. Also a enabler and setup card. It's the one that surveils 2 and then brings extra bodies when you reanimate something. So having more density with these engine cards that are payoffs at the same time is pretty nice. And yeah, the preparing is mostly not that big of an issue in those styles of decks. And I give it like a niche application for something like Mono Black Aggro, where in the same way you churn through your small creatures like Gravecrawler or I don't know, your 2/1 zombies that return from the graveyard all the time. You churn through those. You have some self-mill. You jam this card, and even make more use of your graveyard this way. Interesting, cool package. It's a bit like the Bluebird. Just brings a lot in one card that you should at least consider it for decks that are interested in this stuff.
Yeah, Reanimate is one of the strongest cards that we have in the format right now. So getting that card is cool. Downside is that you this triggers an upkeep, so you have to wait 1 turn until you get it. 3 mana 3/3. In my opinion, like Bolt and Chain Lightning should see less play, so maybe 3 toughness is less of a downside. I don't know. This is an okay card. I will not be surprised if this would see a decent amount of play.
Yeah. So, I mean, there will be games where you play this and your opponent immediately bolts it, and you're down on tempo. But there will probably also be games where you play this, your opponent doesn't have an answer, and this wins you the game immediately. So, yeah. And also, like, Reanimate is such a strong spell. It even got points in the Canadian Highlander format.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love these designs where you're like, okay, you need to play this to really know what's going on. And it's not like in your face staple or in your face garbage. Just really nice balance.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's continue.
Next card. The Intermediate Chirography. This is my card. This is a commander card, and it's one in a black class. So it has 3 levels. The first level, which you get immediately, is when this class enters, you get a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Second level is one in a black. Whenever you lose life for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And the third level is 2 in a black. At the beginning of each end step, if a modified creature died under your control, this turn create a 2/1 white and black inkling token again. So I talked to our mono black
Overlord.
whatever. He's not watching these set reviews, he said, but he was kind of high on it because like a lot of what the suicide deck is doing is like dealing itself damage. And what's interesting about this card, apart from getting a 2/1 flyer first, is that it triggers each turn. So you can use the second level as a combat trick, so you can attack. I don't know, he blocks or you block, and then you lose life with your lands or with your spells or with fetching, and then put counters on your things. I played against it already. It was kind of annoying, I have to say. And like the third level is a little bit of cherry. It's an okay card. I would not be surprised if Mono Black tries it out, but in 2 months will not play it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not a huge fan, but the second level might be good if you play something like Painlands, where you can really reliably trigger this. But even without, I think you get some out of it. You just have to decide, okay, is this better than any other 2-drop I'm running?
I mean, even if you're not dealing damage to yourself, like this can increase or can your opponent attacking you already triggers this card, so so this can turn the race in your favor just by them attacking you. Getting a 2/1 flyer for 2 mana is also like already okay, and having a mana sink later on, for sure playable.
Yeah, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, notably it says it triggers only once each turn, the counter thing. But let's go to the next card. The next card is the Ominous Harvest, and this is my card. The Ominous Harvest is 2 in a black sorcery and has Gravestorm. And it has a text: target player draws a card and loses 1 life. So this is the third card in general in Magic which has Gravestorm. Wizards is very they don't print a lot of Gravestorm cards, and they are all usually really safe. This is, I think, one of the best ones. So this could work similar to Tendrils, like bad Tendrils in Storm decks. If you're really going off, you can maybe kill your opponent, but if you have like a smaller Storm, you can just draw some cards. Notably, it doesn't trigger on your spells being cast. It triggers, so Gravestorm triggers on the cards which go into your graveyard. So it works well with the card, like the Rain card, 1 in a black, sacrifice a land.
Rain of Filth.
1 in a black, sacrifice a land, and make a black mana.
Standard resources.
Yeah, this card too. I can also see this card maybe being played in Dredge. So imagine having this in hand, dredging 5, playing this, drawing 5, losing 5.
It needs to enter from the
battlefield,
so
not from the library.
Okay. This is less great then. So maybe this is only then for some kind of storm turn. So similar to Galvanic Relay, where if you don't go off, you can draw a couple of cards and then go in a second or third wave.
Yeah, it's a unique card, which is why I like it. Recently, there's been a new combo deck called Welder Cam, which uses Goblin Welder and a new surveillance camera from Turtles to basically recast an artifact from the graveyard and kill it again like infinite times. And obviously, this kills your opponent if you direct the Gravestorm copies at them. And notably, this also counts the number of permanents put into your opponent's graveyard. So there might be turns when you just want to play this as a draw spell in your combo deck, where your opponent fetched or you removed something, and this increases the Gravestorm count. So this is also not irrelevant. Yeah, but I mainly see this as another option for a combo finisher card.
So let's go into the next card. The next card is Museo Vayne's New Dean. This is my card. And the Museo is 2 in black. It's a legendary creature, Bird Skeleton Warlock. It's a 2/1 with flying. And it enters. When it enters, it creates a 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with. Whenever this creature attacks, you gain 1 life. And then it has the ability word Infusion. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life that you gained this turn. So obviously this is made for life gain decks. So the floor is that you play a 3 mana 2/1 with flying, and you get a 1/1 which triggers on attack. Gains life, and if the pest survives, you can each turn get back a 1-drop. So in life gain or Soul Sisters decks, you play a lot of these 1 mana Soul Sisters or Elves or Ocelot Pride, or the creatures that you play, which usually die because of trading, removal, etc. This can get your small creatures back at least, but if you gain more life because you have multiple instances of getting life, you can get back even bigger creatures like Ooze or your Ajani Sprite Mages. In Soul Sisters decks, you usually play white, so you have the ability to save the Museo with the Caracas, or replay it to get another Inkling if the game goes long, which usually it goes with these life gain decks. It has only 1 toughness, and it's 3 mana, so it dies to Bowmasters, Renin 6, etc. But I don't know. I can see this card being played in Orzhov or Abzan life gain decks.
Yeah, in life gain decks is for sure a nice tool. Yeah, but in any other decks, I don't really see this.
I don't hate it in black mid-range decks that play a lot of 1-drops. I don't know, like just a Nether Goyf sometimes to reanimate is cool. One of your mana dogs. But the ceiling of this card is pretty high. I mean, we're entering a territory of win more, but this is nuts with Barrogoyf, where all of a sudden, like, you gain 4 or 5 life and can maybe reanimate something pretty big. God, I wish we had Skull Clamp.
So yeah, in your toolbox decks that you're usually playing, if you have a little bit of a life gain side topic, then you can also play this card.
Cool.
So next card is the Postmortem Professor, and this is Leon's card.
Yeah, Postmortem Professor for 1 generic 1 black. This is Zombie Warlock 2/2. This creature can't block. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And for 1 generic 1 black, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's we are getting more and more recursive threats in black, and a lot of them actually see play in Highlander in Rakdos aggro or in mono black aggro. So this is another recursive threat that's good. That is good at beating down your opponent. The ability can be activated at instant speed, so you can do it in your opponent's end step. How it compares to the other ones we already have, we will have to see. But this is for sure a nice addition.
Notably is a zombie, so if you like playing zombie tribal, the deck's usually lacking playable 2-drops, so this is a card for this kind of deck.
There are cards like Scrap Heap Scrounger. It's a 3/2 artifact creature that does the same thing but exiles the creature. I think this is better because it's more likely you have an instant or sorcery instead of a second creature in the yard. And I wouldn't be shocked if this saw play in mono black aggro because of this fact where you have all these very compact spells like, I don't know, Snuff Out and all the 1-drop removals. And then this is just going to be reliably coming back from the yard.
Yeah. And it's the same way to deal damage even if the board is closed.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next card, which is Ralzarek, Guest Lecturer, and this is Dom's card.
Okay, Ral is now a 3-drop, so it's 1 generic and 2 black for a Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. It has 4 abilities, +1, Surveil 2, pretty straightforward. -1, any number of target players each discard a card. So Lily of the Veil, but you can say, I don't discard, only you do. -2, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Nice unearth there. And -7, flip 5 coins. Target opponent skips their next X turns, where X is the number of coins that came up heads. This is definitely not like a super powerful Planeswalker that will become an instant all-star, but I think it's a nice little role player. So 3-mana Planeswalkers are always worth looking at. And this one, the biggest issue is without a yard, it doesn't protect itself. Takes up to 4 and then can be naked on the board. But if you manage to -2 and reanimate something decent as a blocker and or as a value creature that already makes this worth casting, then this card becomes pretty good. So where do I see it? There are these 3 animator style decks that are looking to have a little bit of a lower to the ground reanimate game plan where they're like, I don't need to reanimate Grizzlebrand and Archon of Cruelty. I just want to reanimate Oculus or other good 3-drops like Barrogoyf and have this proactive game plan. Nicely slots into there. And the second archetype I can see this is any of the discard decks like Rakdos Converter, Madness maybe, where it also brings a nice flexibility because obviously these decks also casually discard creatures to the yard to reanimate. And Ral basically fuels that with his Surveil, but then also fuels your discard strategies like the Converter, the Madness, all the other triggers like Inti and Evora with his -1. And yeah, the -7 is game winning, but obviously very, very win more if you get to this point.
It can be
I mostly ignore it.
It can be game winning, but it can also do straight nothing if you're unlucky.
Did you do the math? How
No.
likely is it?
I didn't, but it's possible. It happened also with the old Razarek, I think, sometimes. I can see this deck in dedicated discard decks. So in Modern, there used to be a deck which was called 8-Rag, which had a couple of permanents, which all dealt damage to the opponent if the opponent had less cards in hand. And I think like 1 to 2 years back in small tournament in Erfurt, There was one guy top 8ing with the discard deck in Madness, in Rakdos. And there you have like the Liliana of the Veil, you have the uncommon Planeswalker from War of the Spark, which is also a wreck. And now you could have this Zarek. So you discard cards and you benefit from that, and besides that, you're playing good cards. You can play it on turn 1 with Dark Witcher, which is cool.
Yeah.
This is really hard to evaluate, but it can be doo-doo. I don't know. It can also be really good. I'm not sure.
So yeah, I think it for sure has some really strong abilities, but I think the fact that you can't just slam it on the board without anything in your graveyard when you're already behind on board makes this probably unplayable in my mind, in my book. 3-drop that that's so limited is not playworthy for me, at least.
No.
Okay.
Another one of the cards we need to play. Great.
Next card. The Tragedy Feaster. This is my card. The Tragedy Feaster has 2 and a black. It's a demon 7/6 with trample and ward. Discard a card. And it has the ability word Infusion. So at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice a permanent unless you gain life. So this is a big demon. And it has trample, so it can kill the opponent really quickly. Obviously, you can play this card in life gain decks to gain reliably life, to not sacrifice cards, but you can also live the mono black lifestyle and just Dark Witcher that out, or play that card with the Lake of the Dead, and then don't care about sacrificing creatures or lands because you will kill the opponent. Ward, discard a card, is a really strong ability. We saw this on the Graveyard Trespasser, where if you want to bolt it, you have to discard a card, and if you don't have a card, you can't even target it. Having this ward ability on such a big creature is... I don't know how good this will be, but I don't know. This can kill really quickly, I think. Yeah. So mono black, life gain decks, maybe Rak, maybe Golgari. Yeah.
Yeah, the downside doesn't need to be a downside if you skew it in a way. I still see like an aristocrats list that doesn't play all these small creatures, but rather a bunch of small creatures and a bunch of big beaters in this style that act as a sack outlet. So yeah, beating your opponent down with this and sacrificing your Shambling Guest or whatever for some value, that feels pretty good, I imagine. So
you can also run this together with like in a black token deck where you run Ophiomancer and Bitter Blossom and Contagion, and then you slam this and you can sack your Ophiomancer tokens. So it's not really a drawback.
Yeah. I mean, that deck has been forming more and more, but no one has built it yet.
Okay, next card, which is the last card. The Withering Curse. The Withering Curse is my card. It's 1 and a black, sorcery. It has the text, all creatures get -2/-2 end of turn. And the ability word Infusion, if you gained... actually it's not an ability word, it's a keyword in the set. Infusion, so if you gained life this turn, destroy all creatures instead. I just wanted to talk quickly about it since it's a mythic. So Wizards thought this will be good. Maybe for limited purposes it's a mythic. So giving -2/-2 can be really strong against like white creature decks or like elf decks. Gaining life reliably to making this a 3-mana board wipe can be tough. So Playing this inside of a deck with a lot of life gain creatures will be certainly a thing that people will not expect. So, as I said before, your life gain creatures die rather quickly all the time. So, having a safety net to wrath the board can be a useful tool. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should go back to Necropotence with Ivory Tower. You know, yeah, I don't see this card seeing play. It's too unreliable, and the effect doesn't kill the creatures we care about these days. Mostly, like, it doesn't kill Tamio, doesn't kill Barrogoyf, doesn't kill Oculus, doesn't kill yada yada yada. No,
Yeah.
no, leave that to the commander players.
Maybe in Mono Black Control also you don't gain life reliably enough. So let's go into the next color. The first red card will be the Emeritus of Conflict. It's my card. So this creature is 1 in a red. It's a human wizard. It's a 2/2 with first strike. And when you cast your third spell, each turn this creature becomes prepared. And when it's prepared, it has the ability to cast Lightning Bolt. So 2/2 first strike in red is really good. It attacks well into bigger creatures since you can threaten to kill off the creatures with burn spells. Getting to your third spell can be tough, so this asks you to play low curve red deck. Notably, the prepared spell triggers your next wave of preparing your card. So casting a lightning bolt will be the first instance of the new spell wave to prepare it again. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's also so the white one and the red one. So the cheap ones they didn't bring prepared. Yeah, I don't know. I can see this being played in mono red decks, and it's a mythic, so I wanted to talk about it. Like red players currently are really sad in general because like Bargoth exists, and the Psychic Frog, and the yeah, so they're not really feasting right now. So
is it feasting with this one, Leon?
No.
No.
Yeah, casting 3 spells is like really tough. Also, these kind of cards, like it also always comes with a downside that you don't use, like you are not casting your spells at the optimal timing. Like for example, you're not holding back your instants to use them in your opponent's turn. Instead, you cast your opt or your lightning bolt in your own turn to trigger these cards, which is kind of a downside.
yeah, maybe it's better for decks with pump spells. So maybe some prowess decks or like heroic decks. This can be better since you play your spells more often proactively.
Yeah, I don't like this card at all. For all the reasons you've mentioned, and I don't think it's gonna live up to its hype.
Imagine spending your whole turn casting like 2 cantrips and one spot removal to get this prepared, and your opponent removing it in their turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in Bauble, just move on.
It seems like
Like, I don't know about this one.
red players live right now.
We have a lot of good 2-drops in red recently. This is okay.
Next card
This
is
is one.
Flashback. It's Dom's card.
Yeah, Flashback. Such an awesome card. It's a 1 mana, 1 red instant. Yeah, and it reads target instant sorcery card in your graveyard gains Flashback until end of turn. Flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. So Snapcaster without a body in red for 1 less mana. Multiple archetype staple. Because what this essentially reads is 1 mana recast any instant sorcery from your graveyard. I don't know. Do I need to go that deep into it? That is just an effect that you love to have in combo decks to recur your very important tutors or like another ritual. It's not a snapcaster, so it's not a creature, so you can play it in oath decks. But even in Grixis tempo, Jeskai tempo, is it? Why not? This gives so much flexibility and really opens up a lot of potential for every turn you have this in your hand. Now, the only downside being without a yard, it does nothing, where Snapcaster at least provided an ambush viper kind of creature. But come on, like this is so efficient and in a great color for multiple decks. Leon, you gotta play it, right?
No, probably not. Because like I think the format is getting faster and faster. So the first couple of turns are really crucial nowadays. And the more cards you have in hand that you can actually cast and use, the more tools you have, and the more lines of play you have to outplay your opponent and get ahead in the first couple of turns. And this one is essentially dead the first couple of turns. Like
is it though? Let's say turn one you cantrip.
And like also what you didn't mention is the blowout potential. For example, if your opponent has repeatable source of exiling or something to exile cards from your yard, like the
Scavenging
ooze or anything like that, it's also kind of dead. Not really dead, but it's more difficult to use, but because then you have to use it in response to them activating the graveyard exile. So yeah, I think in combo decks this will see play for sure, but I'm not really very high on it in like is it tempo or Grixis tempo.
Interesting. Benny, what is
I mean, this is training wheels for the 1/3, which flashbacks card.
Dreadhorn Arcanist.
So you can flashback that and then flashing back the 2 or 3 or even more expensive cards, mana cost spell with Dreadhorn Arcanist. So red-based Storm you can play it. Also like 5 to 4 color Storm deck. This can be really good in giving you Storm count. I don't know. I can see that. Like, imagine you're on the draw. You play against an elf deck. Opponent plays an elf. You remove the elf. The opponent plays elf. You have like flashback and kill another elf. This doesn't. It's not necessarily dead in the first turns. I can see this card being really expensive in like a couple of weeks.
Also, like, why is Grixis tempo so strong? It's so strong because it's really, really efficient. Every spell is really efficient. Every spell is all. Not really, because with this you're casting a 2 mana Inquisition of Kozilek. You're casting a 2 mana Sleight of Hand, and then suddenly your spells become less efficient. I mean, you get more flexibility by being able to use anything in your graveyard, but also then you have like cards like Oculus or Murktide that don't go very well together with this one. So you instead of just running another cantrip or another removal or another discard, you get more flexibility, but at the same time you are less efficient, less mana efficient.
I also think Grixis tempo is really good because it's really flexible, and it doesn't get more flexible than that, I think.
But 2 mana Thoughtseize is still a good card. 2 mana Lightning Bolt is still a good card.
Yeah,
and basically with flexibility. Okay, I'm higher on this card than you.
That's totally let's see how it performs. I'm really curious.
I would play this in RDW and burn, because having more bolts and chain lightnings and Price of Progresses That is pretty good.
I think the card is really, really good.
Maybe I'm underrating it. Let's see.
So next card is the Maelstrom Artisan. It's Leon's card.
Yeah, so Maelstrom Artisan is for 1 generic 2 red Minotaur Sorcerer, and it's a 3/2 with haste. This creature enters prepared, and the spell side is Rocket Volley. For 1 generic 1 red at sorcery speed, you get destroy target non-basic land. I think that 3 power haste for 3 mana is already fine in red aggressive decks, and land destruction for sure is really strong. So I think this is playable. I will test it in Gruul Monsters for sure. But it's like imagine this in a blink shell like Jeskai Blink or something, and getting repeatable land destruction also seems really amazing. So yeah, I can see this this will see some play at least, I think.
Yeah, playing this with an elf on turn 2 is strong, and then playing next turn the land destruction part. I think this is decent enough to see play.
Yeah, nothing to add. Threat of activation is pretty strong in itself.
Next
You have to
card
do it to your opponent.
is also Leon's card. It's a Molten Core Maestro.
So Molten Core Maestro for 1 generic 1 red is a Goblin Bard and is a 2/2 with Menace. And it has Opus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell, at an amount of red equal to this creature's power. So this reminds me of the dwarf with Trample. What's its name again? That also grows when you cast instant and sorceries.
Overcharged milk? No.
I don't know, but
It's more like the guy from the one which gets token counters, and then if you have like 3 counters, remove the counters and make 3.
You mean the
Steamkin. Runaway Steamkin.
Similar to that, right?
Anyway, I think it could be fine in mono red just because it has evasion, menace. Like they are printing menace on more and more creatures, and it's actually a pretty powerful ability for aggressive decks or in general, and having a threat that grows. But I think where this one really shines is like some kind of blitz and prowess decks, where you have card that cycle themselves or 0 mana spells like mutagenic growth. I think it's the name of it. Gutshot, yeah.
Misstep. Yeah.
Yeah. This card is fine.
Yeah, I think it's great. You play this on turn 2, it's almost a must kill, like not really, but a 3/3 menace already is such a good beater that your opponent has to respect it. And first time I read it, I thought, wow, pyrokinesis with this is insane. But you have to spend the mana, so note that. That's not very likely in our format. Can't really think of a 5 or more cost spell in red that would reliably trigger this that you want to play. But we might be surprised. Maybe hardcast pyrokinesis, I mean, it comes up, right? But yeah, just a nice growing threat that beats your opponent to death.
So we're almost at the end of the first part of the set review. We are going to the color green right now. The first green card is the Ambitious Augmenter. This is Dom's card.
Yeah, the Ambitious Augmenter is a 1-drop in green. It has 1/1. It's a turtle wizard, so yeah, those turtle synergy cards from the last set were not completely a waste, I guess. Anyway, it has the keyword Increment. So Increment is like Explore, but Explore only triggered on creatures entering the battlefield. This one triggers on every spell you cast. So if you cast a spell that has greater amount of mana than this creature's power toughness, this gets a 1/1 counter. So this is you play this turn 1, turn 2, you play a 2 cost spell, this gets a counter, and so on. And it reads, when this creature dies, if it had one or more counters on it, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put this creature's counters on that token. So just by itself, it's a really great one drop that dies and leaves something behind. That is traditionally something Aristocrats is really, really happy to see. Notably, if it doesn't have counters and dies, it still creates a body that dies, so it can trigger a Blood Artist twice, so that is the flaw for that deck. But I actually see potential for this card outside of Aristocrats, because let's imagine a world where you have green and you play a mid-range or even a tempo deck or any deck where you play this on turn 1 and then constantly develop it. If it's already a 2/2, it leaves behind a 1/1, which is not nothing in the first turns. But from then on, if it's a 3/3 for 1 mana and then leaves behind a 2/2, already we're getting in a torrid territory where the removal spells of your opponent are getting awkward. But eventually, this one needs to be answered. Then, on the other hand, this is a terrible top deck in a lot of scenarios where you already spend your spells. So yeah, also green-based, mid-range. Doesn't really have that many slots left, especially in a 1-drop slot. But I can see a world where you play this, experiment 1, that one...
Pelt Collector.
Pelt Collector, thank you.
Collecting them pelts.
Yeah, where you say, look, every creature on my curve grows and gets counters. And that is the base of my creature base. And that enables so much more synergies. Yeah, slot this one in. Maybe we're getting a density card here that is really great.
Okay, next card. The Green Emeritus, the Emeritus of Abundance. This is Leon's card.
Yeah, Emeritus of Abundance for 2 generic, 1 green is an Elf Druid and is a 3/4 with Vigilance. This creature enters prepared. Whenever this creature attacks, if you control 8 or more lands, this creature becomes prepared. And the spell side is Regrowth. So for 1 generic, 1 green, return target card from your graveyard to your hand at sorcery speed. So notably, this is an elf for all the elf enjoyers. Getting a 3/4 with Vigilance for 3 mana is already like decent rate. And being able to use the Regrowth ability like the turns after to get a land back or another threat can be really useful. Also, it synergizes really well with blink strategies so that you can reuse the regrowth. I think the games or the board states where you will have 8 lands in play are probably really, really rare. How does this compare to Eternal Witness? I think Eternal Witness is still is much stronger than this in my mind, because instead of like 5 mana in total, you only need 3 mana. But yeah, what do you think?
It's a really great package, right? 3 mana, 3/4 Vigilance alone is just a great creature to attack and play defense well. Yeah, and Regrowth is a strong ability. It's a card that has seen a lot of Highlander play back in the day because, it's such a flexible card. And having this staple to a 3/4 for 3 is really, really good. So
almost like Flashback.
Now listen up. I think this will see play alongside Witness. Witness has other implications, but this one... So you don't want to play Witness on turn 2 from your mana elf if you don't have a good target in your graveyard, right? But you play this because you say, here, deal with my 3/4. If you don't, I have this Witness readily available in my future turns. I think that is what sets this apart from Witness.
So Witness probably goes more like in the combo creature combo decks or the toolbox decks, and this one goes more into the green or lands or green value
just between
mid range.
I think
fights.
I would play this in 4-color Blood and Gruul Monsters, but not Witness. Precisely because those decks want to front load threats that demand an answer. And this one, just is playable at any point in the game.
Right.
Also, it only costs 1 green, so playing it in multicolor decks or decks with more colors, it's easier.
Yeah.
Ancient Tomb Mana.
Ancient
Yay!
Tomb. I mean, it's let's do this. Not
So I can see this card being played in land decks. So triggering this multiple times and getting back your more expensive land spells seems really strong. And like, I don't know, I've played often enough against this Merfolk from the new Highlander set, which is also a 3/4 with Vigilance. And what's the card again? So the 3/4 Vigilance.
That makes map tokens.
Yeah, the map token guy.
Sentinel of the Lost City.
Yeah, and this is like oftentimes so hard to beat in combat. And like having that one and then regrowing your, I don't know, your Wasteland or your Assassin's Trophy or whatever seems like really annoying.
Yeah, and Vigilance. I mean,
it seems like nowadays they're so generous with the keywords. Like you get some vigilance, you get some menace, you get this, you get that. Like in the past, if a creature had like already such an impactful or interesting ability, usually it did not get any keywords. Period.
yeah, and Vigilance is one of the best ones. I mean, another nail in the coffin of Mono Red.
Yeah, it's a really good mythic.
Man. Okay.
So next card, the Vastland Scavenger, Dom.
It's a cute bear. So Vastland Scavenger is another 3-drop in green for 1 green. It's a 4/4 with Death Touch, which I would have said back in the day, that's not relevant on the 4/4, but Barrow exists. So yeah, it's good that it's there. Anyway, it enters prepared, and it can play the instant for 5 mana for generic 1 green, mill 7 cards, then put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Again, I sound like a broken record. Really great package. So a 3 mana 4/4 Death Touch is good, great, play on curve. Yeah, just smash it in. And like I said, it blocks everything, like even against Reanimator. What is the threat without flying they play? It doesn't matter. It's a good creature, yeah. But then it provides a really good mana sink. Bind to life, mill 7, put something on the battlefield. Like it doesn't need to be Emrakul or, I don't know, Atraxa.
It can be though.
It can be. but yeah, let's say in your mono green Eldrazi deck, you play this and then you put an Ulamog into play. And meanwhile, the opponent is like, oh, fuck, I need... Oh, sorry for the cursing.
That's okay.
Maybe you can cut it out. Yeah, and then you mill something decent, but it doesn't matter. Up to this point, your opponent has to care about a 4/4 with Death Touch, right? Yeah, great in Cradle decks, great in decks that are interested in big beefy creatures.
It looks really unassuming, and at first I overlooked it a little bit, so I thought, it's just a big guy, and I thought for some reason the Bind to Life costs like 7 mana. That's because it should maybe cost 7 mana. So a similar spell is on the backside of the green flip land from Zendika Rising. And yeah, this is 7 mana and like 5 mana to cast it at instant speed. So you can just, I don't know, attack. And then opponent wants to swing back. You just, I don't know, flip 7 cards.
They can't, right?
You flip in 7 cards and put in whatever, and then...
Yeah. I mean, the threat of activation, that is messing with the opponent. You have 5 mana open, no blockers available. Your opponent will be like, I don't know if I want to attack, and then, they just... they just lose.
This plays into the theme of like bears in real life. They look really cute, but at the same time they're really dangerous.
Oh,
so
have you ever seen a picture of a shaved bear?
No.
Don't look it up.
So bears are cute but dangerous, and so is this card. So next card.
No, wait. Leon, Gruul Master. Please.
For Gruul, this seems like really interesting. Like 4 power for 3 mana is amazing, and the activating the ability for only 5 mana or you casting the spell for only 5 mana also seems like really strong, and just putting in like another beefy 3-drop or even a 4-drop like a Pyrograph probably wins you the game with this.
Great card.
Okay. Last card is White Growth Archaic, and this is Leon's card.
So White Growth Archaic for for hybrid mana, two generic or a green and 2 generic or a green. You get an avatar creature, a 0/0 with trample and reach, and it has converge. This creature enters with a 1/1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. And whenever you cast a creature spell, that creature enters with X additional 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of color of mana spent to cast it.
Yo.
So I have to admit, at first I've misread these cards. There's also like a red one. At first I thought that the converge is what like the number of counters you have on the creature. You also is equal to X, but it's not. So yeah, but it's for 3 mana, for example, like if you play this in Jund, and you can cast it for 1 green and 1 red and 1 black, you get a 3/3 with trample and reach that buffs your other guys you are playing afterwards. But where this probably shines the most is in a 4 or 5 color deck. I really hope that at some point we have a playable like domain converge deck. But I feel like the upside you get on these cards, like also like Painful Truths we had, or the
Kavu maybe, like
yeah, I feel like the upside yet isn't big enough. Like you have a few that are strong, like the tribal the burn spell that with tribal flames, which is really strong.
But also there's the Scion from Modern Horizons 2.
Scion of Draco.
Yeah, and also you have the Kavu. But apart from these, maybe like 4 or 5 cards, the other ones are really underpowered, I think.
There's like 1 mana +5/+5 if you have like 5 different lands.
And also there's
two of them.
2 of them. And there's also like this cat creature, which is an X or X2 or X3.
Nishoba Brawler.
Yes, Nishoba Brawler, which is also strong.
Yeah.
But also the card that you like from a couple of sets ago, it was a Jund creature, which I think like fought an opponent's creature and then you would gain control of it.
No, the Reaper King. It put in a -1/-1 counter.
Yeah, this card could work well with that too, right?
Yeah, because then you cast it and get to put 3 counters on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean maybe there's a package there, right? Where you like 5 color zoo, maybe a sneaky Niv Mizzet reborn in there.
And Charlotte's Agent.
Unfortunately, this doesn't work well together with hybrid mana, like for example, like Rakdos Kekla or Death's Right Shaman.
Yeah, true. But still, it's like the floor for me is like it's a 3 mana 3/3 trample reach that, unless not killed, buffs all your future plays, which is just decent. But notably, it's a mana value 4 creature, so that might have some implications that I'm not thinking of. But
doesn't trigger Eidolon.
Okay, the lowest floor obviously is to play it for green and green that enters as a 1/1, and that's pretty bad. So yeah, think of this as a 3+ drop. I would argue that is necessary here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoo
people, go nuts, surprise us.
So this was the first part of our set review. In the next part, we will cover the multicolor cards and lands and the awards. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next video.
Tune in again.
See ya.